Welcome to the Becoming a Streamer podcast by Pipeline, where we interview your favorite streamers and learn about their journey to where they are today. I'm your host and co-founder of Pipeline, Snoopeh. Today, I'm joined by Valkia, a full-time Twitch streamer with over 300,000 followers, and you may also know him as one of the best Pharah players on Overwatch. In this episode, we go into how he used his foot in the door in the industry to then ladder to become a full-time streamer. There's a lot to be learned in this episode about self-belief and the ebbs and flows of content creation. If you love the episode, then please do us a favor and share it with a friend. Let's dive in. As a Scot, I don't often admit, but it's great to have a fellow Brit on the show, Valkia. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I want to say like a Britain thing, but there ain't no Britain thing going on right now. So yeah, and it's nice to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Oh man. So before we dive too deep into your journey, I'd love to give the audience some context on where you are today. So what platform are you on? What games are you streaming? Things like that.
Sure. So my primary platform is Twitch. And at the moment, I'm just currently streaming Valorant, which is the new Riot FPS title. But I'm kind of having a bit of a moment where I want to start expanding out again and not just kind of lock myself into one game. So that's kind of more towards during the podcast, I think, than getting into it now.
Yeah, it's ever the challenge is the tension between variety versus single game focus, and there's pros and cons to all of it. So yeah, we'll totally get to that. On average, how long have you been streaming for now?
So I've been streaming for 5 years and what month are we in? 6 months. 5 years, 6 months now.
Yep.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is a long time. In Twitch years, it's a long time. It's
yeah, it is.
How long has that been full time?
Full time, I want to say nearly 4 years now. Next month, so it was July 15th when I went full time. I think that will be 4 years ago. Next month, so just less than a month time.
That's awesome. So I want to wind the clock way back to young Valkia, growing up, because I always find it fascinating. You probably weren't called Valkia back then, I imagine.
I was.
You were?
I mean, it depends on how far back we go, but since, let's say 2002, I was Valkia.
Wow. How old were you then?
In 2002, I was 12.
So you were 12. So yeah, I want to go maybe just a little before that then. It's just like, what got you into, was it games?
Yeah, gaming. So gaming. I mean, when I was younger, I had consoles, but primarily the first kind of memory I had was playing DOS games with my dad. So he had like Jill of the Jungle. He had this crazy weird snowboarding game where you go down a mountain and this Yeti would always get you. Doesn't matter how good you were, this Yeti always got you. And there's like Aladdin and old school kind of Lion King games. And I guess that kind of sparked that kind of want to play PC games. But the other vivid memory I have is that my brother was also into computer games. And one day they bought him a graphics card to make his game better. And I'm like, how does that work? Like it kind of triggered my mind to be like, what is this piece of equipment that makes games happen or games work? So that's kind of, I guess, where my love for computer hardware sparked from. But yeah, so that's kind of my initial beginning.
You're giving me a little bit of goosebumps because I remember when I was 6 years old and I was really into PC games too. And I got a graphics card for Christmas. And again, it's one of these vivid memories of how important this thing was to me. This graphics card I got at Christmas to, improve my computer at the time. And it's so surreal how as a young kid that can impact you in like the rest of your life is that moment.
Yeah, and it was really nice. And as I got older, I was able to kind of have the sort of like say family PC, and it was good enough to play games on. And I remember going out to a shop to buy a game. My dad went out to buy something for his computer, and I said, "Can I have this game?" And it was at the time it was an 18 game. But I don't think he realized it was called Sword of Fortune 2. And it was a fantastic game. It was the first game that kind of taught me about, servers, ping. And then I realized I was playing on an American server the whole time. It was an FPS, so that was not good. But I made a lot of friends that way. And I've kind of started to reach out into the world of gaming and find friends. And what the nice story from that is somebody that I was playing with back in 2005, I think it was. I actually met him last year in New York for the first time. Like back then we were 15, now he's married, 3 kids. Wild. I'd never met him before. We kept in touch on Facebook, but that's about it.
That's super cool. I think that's when people talk about games and like their ability to create connections and everything. That's what it is, right? It's lifelong relationships that you can create from it. When you were growing up, I don't know what age you were when you got Soldier of Fortune, but when you were growing up, did you have buddies locally, like where you lived? Because you're in England, right?
Yeah.
Where you were growing up, did you have buddies that you played with, or did it quickly go online right away? Were you more introverted?
So I went online, but I also did have friends in the local area. So I had a guy who played and bought World of Warcraft in 2004. I want to say he kind of basically quit school to continue playing it. But we did have some LAN parties as well. So I actually have this old camcorder, and one of the first tapes I put in there, rewound it back, was a LAN, big old CRT monitors, a few of my friends, and it was in my kitchen table and like the desk behind as well. And we all just sat around playing what games we played. We played a bit of Quake 3 Arena. We did Sniper Elite, the original one, because I had a really fun LAN kind of version. So I had some friends, but they were never really the friends I would play consistently with in the games that I would play. Some of them played them because we all played, but I kind of was always the one that would just go take it to the next level.
That's super cool. When you were online, you're playing on American servers. Were you, because I remember when I was doing that, when I was playing an American server, different game, but I was like waking up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'd go to bed and then wake up at 3 a.m. to play with them. Did that ever happen for you?
No, because I didn't realize. Like I just went onto the game and just picked a server, and it just happened to be that I was playing with Americans. But then I kind of like server swapped, and there'll be different. I joined a few different teams, just like to be in a clan, and we we'd scrim now and again, but nothing back then. It was nothing like crazy. I got into it quite a bit. Like I would create maps for the games as well, and I'd spend my time kind of learning the software for it and making just doing some skins for the weapons and submitting them to these sites that people could go on and download, like custom skins. Before it was all DLCs and everybody had to pay for everything, and everything was kind of like open source in a way.
Yep,
which was really cool.
It was really cool times. What did your parents think of
that? Of me playing online?
Kind of both, just like you, because it sounds like you were getting pretty obsessed with games at this point.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I balanced it. I played games, but I was a skateboarder. I skateboarded for 15 years, so I was always out, but I was also in at the same time. So I balanced it quite well, and it kind of got to the point where I was more indoors gaming. But that was when I was a little bit older, when I was probably like 15, 16, 17, I would say.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. So you were kind of the well-behaved child, but was still outdoorsy.
Yeah, I was well-behaved, I suppose. I wasn't like, I wasn't the best behaved, but I was not the worst behaved either. I was kind of like an equal balance of a personality. But, at that age, you're kind of finding your feet with how you want to take your life, like what you stand for and that kind of thing.
At what point did you, because I recall you, when I was doing a bit of research, you're good at games, generally. You're like pretty good at games. And some games you're like really damn good. At what point did that start to happen for you? Like what age?
I mean, the problem, I never like to say regret in my life. I never like to say I have regrets, but what I feel like is the problem I had was I played a game called Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod. I played it in tournament. Yeah, I was decent. I never was like top level. I was never like in some of the biggest teams. But when that game died, I was stubborn and I didn't move on to another game. So I lost a few years of actually practicing to where I could become really good at like the prime in your life of being a really good gamer. So I'm more like a casual player who has good game sense and understands things, but I've never been in like a big gaming team really. Just kind of always wanted to just play by myself and just do what I want to do. I guess what spanned my mind being like I want to be a good gamer was from when I started competing and going to Insomnia Festival, gaming LAN event, and going with teams in multiple years and competing. And I think the best we got was top 3. I think it was top 5 or top 3. I can't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. But just kind of that thrill of playing with a team and strategizing and thinking about how to make it better was something I really liked, but it was never really something I always actively pursued. Again, I play games like Quake and do like 1v1 duels, and I always wanted to play well and be a really good player, but I think I just didn't really dedicate enough to that because I had my fingers in so many different pies of what I was doing, and then I had to work. I was never really had enough time to dedicate to take it to that next level. So I guess what I decided to do was take it into streaming instead and just kind of play casually and show through what I can do in that way.
So when did you start competing? Even if it was more like less the super pro level, but like amateur level?
So I think it was around 2008, I would say, because it would have taken about a year for the game to kind of find its feet. So I think it was 2008 to 2010. And then I moved away from home to go work at my, so I worked at a computer company called Overclockers.
I know it all too well.
And I was marketing manager for six years there. So when I first moved, it was a bit too difficult to try and continue competing, and then the game kind of faded away. I think it was almost a little bit too early for its lifespan, and so the game kind of disappeared because there was not enough financial support for the prize pools, and which is kind of disappointing because it was a really fun game. It's kind of nice actually. Recently, I've seen some tournaments with some old Call of Duty 4 players that are still playing, and then I guess I just wanted to focus on making sure I did a good job at my job because I moved away and I wanted to be successful in what I did.
When did you move away from your job? What age were you at this point?
2010. I think I was just turned 20. Yeah, I would have just turned 20 years old.
Did school ever come into it for you? Or is that something you decided not to go after?
As in like higher education?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't really interested. The way that I saw it was that whatever I wanted to do, the way I wanted to do things, I could be taught basics at higher education, but it was always forever changing. So it's kind of strange because from my background, my dad is a university lecturer, retired now. My brother has an Oxford maths degree, so super clever cookie. My sister's a school teacher. My mom was a pharmacist. So, I have my family are very educated. So I'm like the kind of, in a way, the skateboarder, the rebel kind of person, the guy who's
you've got to be someone in the family that is that, right?
I know, yeah, and they're like, they could, when I was younger, they're saying to me like, not stop playing games, but you're playing a lot. Make sure to focus on something which is worthwhile. And I guess at the time it was a bit of ignorance, knowing I just wanted to play, but I almost knew that gaming and esports was going to become a big thing. So I stuck with what I did because I enjoyed it, but then, because of my hardware love, I got into working at Overclockers, who sell computers and parts. And it was kind of nice because both of the two were interlinked, so I could still continue doing my game stuff, but also I could work on how the games worked as well, which was really nice. And seeing it from that side too.
I think that's really interesting. We've got a lot of American listeners, Valkia. So I would say, is this fair? Is Overclockers similar to Newegg, or is there a better comparison in the US?
Yeah, I would say Newegg. If Newegg, I don't know if Newegg build systems and ship systems, so maybe a bit like Cyberpower, US side. So kind of like a mix of both.
So a lot of people, I think, would think it's pretty kick-ass that you got to your passion for computers and games sort of intertwined with your job before you became a streamer, and that kind of it sounds like helped that on ramp. How did you even land that gig?
Streaming or working at Overclockers?
Working at Overclockers, because it was almost like a foot in the door to the industry.
So, all right. So I was at college. So I actually did some higher education, but I technically didn't learn anything from them. So by trade, I'm a graphic designer. And before the marketing stuff. And when I was at college, I was kind of sick of waiting in classes where people were trying to learn to do Photoshop and how to create layers and stuff that I'd done like years ago. So I went off skateboarding during the day, and then the college tutors told my parents that I was not attending the classes, and I was like, yeah, because I'm bored. Like they're doing like basic 3ds Max when I've done that stuff, what they've learned years ago for myself, just because I'm creative. And my dad said, well, either you quit and you get a job or you continue. So I said, right, I'll continue and show you that I can do it. So I carried on doing my college work, And then I met a guy on my course, which I already knew, but he said, "Oh, my dad needs some help." I was like, "What does he need?" I said, "Well, I need somebody to help design some flyers, like do some graphic design." I said, "Yeah, sure, I can do it." And turned out that he owned a print shop, so I worked for him for 3 years, doing sign work, print design, learning about full color print processes, which was really cool. And then from that, I kind of, I just naturally wanted to move on. I every Wednesday I would look at the deals on Overclockers and be like, "Okay, what's new? What hardware can I buy?" And then I was looking at their website. I was like, "Man, can I swear?" Lightly?
Yeah,
no?
Go for it. No, you get.
Yeah, I was like, their graphic design is shit. Like, so bad. Like, their banners were just crap. And I was like, they're in dire need of a designer. So I literally just pulled up an email. I was like, "Look, you guys need a designer and I'm ready for an interview." That's basically what happened. So I emailed that across. And the crazy thing is the owner of the company, he's English, but he lived in Switzerland. It's only in the country 2 weeks a year. And it happened that the email landed on his inbox on the first day he was there. So he said, "Come up for an interview." So basically, like the day after I went for an interview. So this was like a good distance and drive from where I was. So this was like 2.5 hours. So I went for an interview, and he basically said I got the job on the spot because I just created some assets for him to look at, and he's like, "Oh yeah, actually, it's way better than what we got on the current website." So I initially got hired as a graphic designer for the company, but naturally, because of my love for hardware, I kind of think like marketing is the natural step on from graphic design. If you're like promoting a product or something you like, you've got to understand what makes people want to enjoy or like a product or buy a product, and then that's kind of the marketing mind spinning off. So then after working at the company, I just kind of naturally took the step into marketing and doing the meetings and getting the funds in to promote products.
I think there's something to be said about how this is played out in the rest of your life. Is that decision to tell someone, a company you liked and kind of enjoyed and like kept an eye on, to believe in yourself enough to tell them that what they had sucked and that you could do better.
And it was bad. It was literally like it was like a black banner with like the product with a white glow around it and some like default text. I'm like, "No, this is definitely for the size of that company. This gotta change. That has to change."
but like just the decision that you made to like call that out. What, like, most people I think wouldn't have the confidence or the arrogance maybe to put that forward. And that's the shot they didn't take, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So yeah. Sometimes you've just got to, you just never know. Like, it doesn't hurt to ask questions. I always say it doesn't hurt to ask questions. It doesn't hurt to inquire or be inquisitive, because what's the worst that could go wrong? Like, sorry, we're not looking for anybody right now. Okay, no harm done. But in this case, they needed somebody. I can't remember if it was already on the site at the time when I emailed, because in the job section, or if it was they were ready to put something on saying we were looking for a designer. It just happened to land in the inbox at the right time. I guess it was just because I'm on the site so often, and because my daily job was graphic design. I'm like, these guys could do so much better. So if anything, it was more like I can help improve a company and maybe make a career in something.
That's super cool. When you got the gig, that helped you get your foot in the industry, and you started building a career at Overclockers, which is one of the most influential gaming companies in the UK and even Europe. As that started to you build your influence, and I think you started working with streamers, right, through Overclockers, because they had quite a close relationship with streamers.
Yeah, so the company I started the affiliate program, and that was actually very successful. So the first cool thing that I did at the company, which I really liked, was at the LAN event, Insomnia, so people would take their computers to the event and they would play tournaments, or they would just go for fun and be casual, be with friends, have some drinks. And every time that we would go, somebody's computer would break and there would be an issue. So I said, well, I would like to create a scheme which is called delivery to the desk, where people could order from the Overclockers website, have kit delivered down to the event if they need anything, same day, twice a day. And that was a great scheme. And that was kind of the first thing I did. And because the event started bringing in more and more kind of personalities and streamers and YouTubers, we started thinking, well, this is probably something we should get into as well in terms of promotion to help with that and for other things. So we started the affiliate program, basic stuff for, some smaller streamers that would be wanting to, have an affiliate company to work with. Kind of kickback kind of scheme was done, and that was very successful. And by doing that as well, I was able to kind of keep or be connected with other streamers that we would then kind of financially sponsor as well to help promote the companies, as you would do. And it was kind of nice. And the real thing that happened to me was I was talking and sponsoring some people, and I was like, hell, man, I could do this. I could do this, and I could probably do a better job than some of these people that I've been talking to who were like paying. Because I don't know, I didn't think that they were big, but I couldn't understand what was going on. I felt like some of the quality wasn't that great, and all in each streamer's own right. But then I was like, well, I think this is gonna kick off. I think streaming is gonna be big, and I'm gonna give it a go because I have all the PC hardware that I need because of where I work. I already have a gaming PC. I'm decent at games, and I can talk. I think being able to interact and understand the core of what Twitch was, and that was basically where it started and where it kicked off for me.
And this was back in 2015?
Yeah, so 2015. So this was, so I was streaming for about a year while working at Overclockers. So
what did that look like for you? Was Overclockers like a 9-to-5 job and then you were streaming in the evening? How did it work?
Yeah, so this was a time where I should have really put a bit more schedule into my life, but when I say schedule, I didn't have any time off. So Overclockers was 8:30 till 5:30. I would go home, I would eat, and then I'd start at 6:30. I'd be streaming till like 11 or 12 at night every day for a year, every 7 days a week. So I had this vision. I was like, I can see streaming going well. Like the way I looked at it was YouTube was already quite an old platform. It was quite mature. Twitch was within 5 years of changing over from Justin.tv. Was it Justin TV? Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like, loads of things haven't been done. Like I could literally stick my face in a billboard and go to Twitch Valkia, and I'm like, I could be the first person to do this. It was almost like a world of possibilities. But if you look at YouTube, all of this kind of stuff has already been done by people. So I thought, wow, there's loads of things that could potentially be done here. So I went in, as I was already business minded, I set up a brand. I already had the name, which was great. That's a big stepping stone for people or stumbling areas, like getting the right name, but having brand colors, making business cards on the first week that I started streaming. So I'm like, well, if I meet people, I want people to have my card. I want people to remember me, because I'm planning. I said I'll go to all the events. I'll go to TwitchCon. I'll go to any Twitch event that might be in the UK, and just see where it takes me. So I did that for a year, and I built a good audience, not enough to go full time.
What was that audience like? Just to give the listeners a sense of, after a year of really like grinding, what did that look like for you?
So I had a dedicated audience, and this is probably like 50, 60 viewers, maybe. It wasn't huge, but I liked it because at the beginning of streaming, I was a variety streamer. I could play whatever I wanted and everybody would have a great time. I could switch games, and I must have played like 30 games in that first year or more. Just playing and turning on stream, and I don't know, it's a different sense when you don't stream full time. It's kind of like, because you're not financially tied to making sure you can survive for the next month. It's just kind of a bit different, and it was just nice to be able to just interact with everybody and play games that I felt was chill. And I really liked that kind of initial creativity. Every day I'd come home from work and I'd say, right, what can I do? One thing to challenge myself to improve my stream: graphic overlay, audio quality, new product, this, that. And I'd always want to improve the stream in one way or the other. Like, what is it really that people want to see? What is it that people really want to hear? Like, what is new trends? So I'd set up Google Trends, and I'd have it email me all these new trends that were going on, what people were searching for, so I could make sure to be in with what people were listening to or what they were searching for, which is really cool. Again, that goes back into like being a marketeer. You do these things, you'll go the kind of extra analytical step to check, what am I doing wrong? How can I make it better? But overall, I was just kind of, I don't know, flying along, just seeing what would happen and seeing if it would work. But
you must have been exhausted. I mean, working 8:30 to 5 and then quickly turning around to stream, getting dinner in there as quickly as you could, and then crashing at night and getting up and doing that, and then forget your family, like reaching, like you couldn't even probably talk to them or like barely talk to them because you've got no time to do that.
Yeah. So I would, yeah, it was basically that. Like I had no time, but it was almost like I had a vision, you know, when you're so motivated to be like, this could really work. If I really put enough effort in now, this could work, which is, it's good, but it's also unhealthy because, you know, there's other aspects of life. It can't all be work, even though it's kind of strange because it's gaming, it is play, but until you really treat it as a business, you've got to realize you've got to step back, you know, you've got to have a time where you don't just do something which is not working or streaming, and you've got to experience life a different way too.
But why did you not give up within 2 months? Like, I don't, like, sure, the vision, like you had this visualization of like where you could be, but after 2 months sitting at like 20 viewers or 10 viewers, like, why didn't you give up? Why did you keep going?
I think I gained like 2,000 followers in 2 months. So I was doing pretty well in terms of, I found like some games that had franchises had lots of people that would watch them and do like role play. So I played like Five Nights at Freddy, and within the first couple of months of streaming, I would find like a group of people who would come to the stream. It was like 300 people. So it felt like it was doing well. Like everything that happened felt like it was a natural step of progression. And the thing is, in my mind, I wasn't aiming big. I was like, if I can have every day one person who comes to my stream enjoys it enough to follow, then that's kind of my job done. Like, so, you know, small step at a time. Don't aim too big. I didn't really have any milestone goals. I was just like, well, let's see where this goes. And I was able to bring people to the stream. And then I set like challenges, like try and remember one thing about every viewer, just so they felt like they were part of a community that really cared, really wanted to listen to them and interact with them. And then they would interact with each other. I would do other things with that as well. I'd have like Discord servers set up so all the people that enjoyed the stream could hang out and talk to each other. I think actually the Discord might have come out a little bit after the beginning. I'm not sure even if Discord was around then.
I think it was, might have been like on that starting then, or like just the year after. Yeah, I can't remember.
I definitely remember having a Steam group, and then I could announce through the Steam group. It would pop up on Steam saying I'm live, so I could make an announcement that way. So I just wanted to see where it was going, and it felt like it was doing well. And I actually got partnered in 6 months on Twitch because I said to myself, well, what hasn't been done? So I made a documentary of what I was doing on Twitch, and that documentary was on YouTube. So I technically got partnered from a YouTube video, which was then I posted to Reddit. Somebody from the Twitch staff saw it, and he's like, we love what you do, and I want to partner you. I'm like, wow, this is great. So
so how did he partner you? Well, what happened in the 6 months? You just a video, that content you made got onto Reddit.
No, so at 6 months of streaming, I made like a mini documentary just to cover what I had done in 6 months and how I grew my stream, what I, you know, making business cards, and I made stickers I sent out to viewers, and basically just a documentary style thing of what I did while I streamed, and how I grew my community to what it was. And I just posted it saying, hey guys, I streamed for 6 months and I made a little video of what I did to get to that 6 month point. And I posted that on Reddit, and I got contacted by a guy who said, I love the video, I love what what you stand for in the community, and I'd like to partner you. That was at like 3 a.m. So it was exciting. I couldn't sleep all night.
That's really cool. It goes to show you never know who's watching. You never know who out there is watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the fun of it as well. Like, you know, that's what's about streaming. It's that kind of mystery of who's there.
When you made that decision, so the first year, did you go full time after the year?
So I went full time after I had a solid plan, which was about 2 months before May 25th, 2016. Basically 2 months before Overwatch came out. So I was kind of waiting and streaming for a game to come out, which I could really say, right, bang, I'm going on for this one. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to make great content. So I already had a YouTube, but I never really put up proper content. So I had a plan. I was like, right, if I make great content, I want to be the first person to put up like how to change your crosshair in this game, how to do this, how to do that. And the YouTube content got good traction. So I said, well, if I have YouTube content on now, people are finding the stream. I never saw YouTube as a revenue stream. I only saw YouTube as a channel to bring people from YouTube to Twitch. That was it. Put great content on there. But at the very beginning, as seen on Twitch, that people will go from that channel onto my Twitch while I'm asleep, and then I can continue to grow my channels through. So before Overwatch came out, I said, right, I'm really going to be going into this game, and I'm going to really think about how I can, generate an audience for this game and have people really enjoy the streams. So I started doing the tutorials, and then because I played Quake and I really enjoyed playing Quake, I got latched onto one of the heroes called Pharah, and I got really good at it. So I was quite well known in the community for Overwatch to play that hero. Again, not in tournaments, but just as a pleb online, but one that could play her well, and I could create some really good footage from her. And I made some very high quality tutorials on how to play her. And I think because of I was seen as being able to play her well, a lot of people searched for that, and I was able to collaborate with other YouTubers as well. So from that, the streams took off very quickly. And I was able to have some great opportunities with Blizzard. They reached out saying, would you like to stream at Gamescom and try out some of the new heroes and some of the new maps? So because I was able to start the YouTube stuff, and then with the streams, they kind of grew together, which I actually think is quite important, actually, for growing a stream. If you can do great content on both platforms, it doesn't hurt. I think it's actually, I don't think I would have had as many people on my stream if I didn't do the YouTube content, that's for sure.
And how much of that was you having the ability to go full time? But did you actually have the financial ability to go from your stream full time, or was it I have savings, I'm going to go full time?
So before I went full time, I was invited by Unibet for an All-Stars poker tournament, and I was able to knock out the pro. So I'm not really a poker player. Like, I like it, but I'm not like any sort of professional. I was able to knock out one of the poker pros that was there. Which he had a bounty on his head, so that was 1,000 for that. And then I came third, which was I think it was a $2,000 for coming third. So I had 3,000 as like savings basically to go full time. I said, I have a vision again. Like, I know Overwatch is going to be big. It's from Blizzard. Blizzard don't have many titles. They're not going to let their game die. The game looks like it has loads of lore. It looks like it's going to be popular. It's kind of, other than TF2, it's quite an interesting genre of game, which a lot of people probably will like. So I said, I'm just gonna go for it. I spoke to my company that I worked for, and I said, look, if things don't go right, will you take me back? And they're like, yeah, no problem, like, go for it. So I felt like I had that security to not worry too much as well, because I kept my like the bridges intact, let's say. So I just wanted to say, let's go for it. And every day I wanted to pump out like as many videos as I could. I think I did like 2 or 3 videos back then per day on Overwatch, and then I would stream. It was exciting. And what's really nice is that the community actually really do support you when you say, hey, I'm taking that jump to go full time. Like, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go full time because I want to create great content. And it's really nice to see the initial support from people as well, and then the continued support over time.
Definitely a thing that's coming up for me is your self-belief in yourself. You've not said those words specifically, but at both the instance where you were the designer that knew you could do a better job than what was happening, and the decision to go full time, it just seems that you have this self-belief.
The weird thing is that I don't. So when I was younger, it wasn't that I wasn't taught, but I never believed that when I look at somebody, that could be me. I never thought that, because I always felt like I was supposed to be in the background. Like, I wasn't a popular kid. I don't know. I always felt like I was always like, oh, that should be for somebody else. Like, that's reserved for somebody who can do this or that. Because I did the design stuff, I took a chance with that one. It's more theory based on the Overwatch one. I was like, this could do well if I work. I'm like, maybe it could do well for me if I put my effort in. But sometimes you've just got to take that risk. Like, I will take risks. I will go for it. Regardless of outcome, so long as I learn. But I guess there was self-belief or self-knowing that if I put the right content out, then people could really like it.
Yeah, I feel like I want to challenge you on this, just because
challenge me, do it.
I definitely see self-belief, because it's even the instance where you've seen the other streamers streaming back at the Overclockers time. You were seeing these other guys streaming, but you were like, I can do a better job. You just like your inner work ethic and like determination, it does seem like self-belief at each of these, whether it feels like it's an outward thing or it's just this like deep inner thing. It just seems that you have a lot of confidence. It comes across that way, but it's more just, I don't know. It's not a bad thing. I think it's really good.
No. I think it's good to be confident. Yeah. I would say I'm a confident person, but I'm not like, oh, that, that's terrible. You're terrible. This is crap. Unless it's really like bad. Like, you know, like I said, these banners on the company website were just like black with just like crappy low res images. Like, it was terrible. So I guess I have a vision of what could happen with something, whether that would be from me or not. I don't know. So it's almost like I know this could be do well. I could be a person who could do it potentially if I try. So I guess, yeah, I have self-belief that certain things could go well, but I've never gone, yeah, this is definitely going to be me. Like, I'm going to be this streamer. Like, I'm going to be the biggest streamer in the game, because I never really have milestones. I just wanted to be passive and see what happens. But I guess when you're taking the leap of faith to be like, right, this is now my job, I had to say to myself, okay, I'm going to go in. And I guess I had to believe that something was going to work out, because, you know, I took that leap. So I think there must be something in there. Not the first words that come to my mind, but it's more just like, I know this could do well.
Yeah. When you started doing that and it wasn't quite enough, you were leaning on savings a little bit. At what point, you're now probably about a year and a half in to the journey of streaming. At what point did did you go, I can go full time?
So I actually went full time on about 250 subs, which is probably not the most advisable, I would say. I can't remember how much it was on actual income and for paying bills, but I guess it was another leap of faith, knowing that if I was to really pump out this YouTube content, which was already doing well for me. So I remember sitting at my work at Overclockers watching my sub count on YouTube go up. Like, it was like 15, 20 subs every like 30 seconds it was back then. Like, it was whatever I put out was doing well. So I said, I'm stuck at work. I don't have time to make these videos. I could probably be home and make videos, and this could do really, really well. So I kind of took the leap of faith on around 250 subs to go full time, with the belief that if I was to put more time into it, that I could probably make it work.
Yeah.
So I guess that is self-belief. I guess.
I'm still going to own that it's self-belief. I'll tell you this for the rest of for years to come. I'll tell you that you do believe in yourself, and anyway. So you've done this now. You made this commitment. At what point were you able to go like, yeah, this is it. I'm a streamer. Like, I have income. Sure, it's kind of lumpy. Some months are better than others, but this is my thing. This is my job now.
I think I felt that. One of the prominent memories was I was on the Battle.net launcher for Overwatch, and after that, I got to for the first time 1,000 subs, and I felt like, and it consistently stayed at 1,000. I said, you know, I feel like people enjoy my content enough to really want to support me, and that, I guess at that point I felt like, yeah, I'm really making it happen. So yeah, I reckon around that sort of time, and that might have been maybe 1 or 2 months after the going full time, I think it was, which was really nice. So it kind of all happened at a good sort of time, like everything happened at a nice rate. So, but yeah, I guess being a streamer is a state of mind. You could be part time, so you can stream once or twice a week and still believe, you know, well, you are a streamer. So I guess it's down to individual. I was a streamer when I was doing it before I went full time as well. Like, I guess it's just going online. If you make one person smile during your broadcast, then job done.
Did you ever think about giving it up?
Streaming? It's tough. I'm in a rut right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in a rut right now. Valorant came out. And I'm not thinking about giving it up, but I'm at the point now where I feel it's a strange one. So Overwatch did very well for me. And the problem what you'll find is that if you grow on one particular game, like, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for growing on this one game. I feel like what got lost in translation is a lot of people came to watch for the plays and not enough for the personality, because the game doesn't really provide time, like moments that you can really express good personality in. It's not like a story-based game where you're going around and you're commenting on stuff. The game feels very familiar each round you play, and didn't allow for a lot of people to see another side of me that they could really enjoy. And the game, unfortunately, changed from what I like. So at the very beginning, you know, patches came out, new heroes, new abilities, and then it got frustrating. Like, I was working, it almost felt like twice as hard to make what I used to do happen, and it got frustrating. So I still have people watching. So I think I averaged around like 1,500 to 2,000 at the beginning of Overwatch, and it dropped down to like maybe before I went on to Valorant, like 300-400. So it was still a good consistent figure. But when Valorant came out, I was like, well, here's a new game which I can really try, and I feel like it's a nice crossover. It's got abilities, so it's kind of like Overwatch, but I actually am from a background of playing like Call of Duty. I played some Counter-Strike, and so I thought maybe it's a nice step, and it's been good, but I feel like I'm going to lock myself into a game again, which is just skill-based focus, and even more so than Overwatch. Like, people really like to watch really high skill players, and I'm not aiming for that. I don't want to be a really high skill player. Like, even in the ranking system, I don't even aim to be the highest because it's too much stress to try and keep up. I don't want to focus on that. What's really important in streaming for me, and for a lot of people, is focus on the stream, the chat. Like, don't let the ranks or the games dictate your emotions outside of that. Like, make sure people are having a good time. If people, if people aren't really interacting, or if maybe they can just tell you're pissed off because you're playing the game, it's like, I don't like that anymore. I don't want to be pissed off because of the game. I want to enjoy it and feel free and have a thriving community based on whatever I want to play. So that's the variety versus like sticking to one game kind of scenario. And I'm like, where do I go from here? So I've taken a few days off streaming now just to kind of clear my head, finish some bits and pieces up, because I'm just trying to work out what is now going to be going on for me. So
I've had the fortune of speaking to many streamers, and I think when you're first starting out, you're thinking of starting and you're on the grind, you don't realize that this point's going to come, whether it's in 6 months or a year or in 2 years. You're doing the same content a lot, and then especially if you're stuck to one game, you're going to get bored of that game. You can't let your viewers know that you're getting bored of that game, but you're like thinking, okay, I'm getting bored. Like, what can I do to make this more interesting, compelling, and exciting for myself? And you're almost reinventing yourself every year, every 2 years, and that's hard. It's hard work.
It really is, because you've got to just become a different version of your same self. And I know that I can offer more than just playing like one particular game, and it's really nice that I can do that, because some streamers I've seen that are pro gamers, they just don't seem to have that kind of enthusiasm as a personality. They're just more I guess they started streaming, like, people stream for their own reasons, whether it's be to grow your own personality, or whether it's because people are timid and they want to improve on how they talk to people. Like, I kind of like the reasons that people stream, and it feels like right now I'm like, right, it's almost like you have the success, and then you that's going to drop. And I've accepted that from when Overwatch was like thriving for me. It's dropped as well, and I never really like to talk the numbers game. And people want to say like, ignore numbers. You can, but it is a nice idea of where you're at, and I think it's about little bits at a time. So during the Valorant drops, it was really nice. Like, in terms of marketing campaign, it was a great campaign. So Riot said people can get access to the game by watching select streamers, which is great. And I was one of the chosen streamers. It was really nice. We had a lot of people. So what I'd like to do, like I always do, I want to take advantage of that as an opportunity and say, right, I want to make sure I have the best streams. I want to make sure that I am there. This is why we had to reschedule this podcast, because I was literally streaming all day. I'd be going to bed at 2 a.m., waking up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to be online, to be ready, to make sure. And I was trying to be as entertaining as possible. So I was playing the games, get people involved. I did like a Joe Exotic cosplay. I dyed my hair purple. And I would, after every game, I would drag the chat onto the screen. I'd literally read as many comments as possible, trying to welcome people to the stream. Where are people from? Whenever I got a great clip in the game, I would clip it, put it into Twitter, and say, "Hey, stream, what should we write on this Twitter?" And get it approved from all the different countries that are watching. And it was like very interactive. And from that, I thought to myself, I was like, right, this was like 5,000 to 10,000 views daily for like a month. So I thought, this is a great opportunity. People are going to become used to being in the stream, and they're going to enjoy the content. And after that, it died down a lot more than I thought it would. I've got to accept the losses as much as the victories, and I've got to look back and say, what is it that I could have done better? Like, why do people not like this? I streamed every day, like 10 to 15 hours daily. And then I put out some great content. And I'm like, I kind of couldn't figure it out. So streaming is a weird beast in itself, especially when you stream full time. I don't like comparing, but what I know I need to do is I need to start looking at inspiration from other streamers as well, going around and saying, like, what is it that really makes somebody successful as well? And like, what I could improve on mine? It's kind of that ever rotating game of improvements. And this is something which I look back at when I first started streaming, going, I did something every day to improve. I don't do that anymore. So maybe I need to start looking at doing that again and reliving myself back then. It's a difficult mindset to be like, I'm a successful streamer, but now it's kind of dying up. The whole washed up streamer kind of vibe. So
it's that growth mindset. It's continuing to have a growth mindset and not getting complacent. And many people do. And it's a really challenging thing. And it's not like, and most people don't get it right. That's the thing, right? It's not like it's like, it's not that you're an anomaly that you're feeling. It's like most people hit this phase and it's super hard to snap out of it. You'll get there. It just takes a little bit of time to give yourself the space to reset. And I think it doesn't matter how big or small you are. I
agree. I agree. And the big thing here is that in my mind, Overwatch pays my bills, or Overwatch is what did pay my bills. So I was almost trapped to always go back to Overwatch to make sure I can continue being able to survive from streaming, because that's where the success really grew from. But I almost have to take that leap of faith, or the
you have it in you, self-belief.
Confidence, self-belief that I could basically stop what I'm doing now, reinvent myself as I go. So I say, right, I'm going to stop just grinding on one game. I feel like I'm a bot. I'll wake up and I'll just click, stream on a game. I'll have the audience come in. I'll chat. I feel like I just don't do enough of that kind of creativity anymore. But I did when I had like the viewers coming in, because it felt like, wow,
it's a dopamine
I really
trip,
want to make sure I do
a feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of like that, and I'm like, well, okay, I need to kind of do that again. But even if I start from low down, because I know I've done it before, I can do it again. I've just got to figure out what it is that I'm gonna take it, and it would be nice to be able to just not have to be stuck to the one game again. My problem is that I don't even know what games I like to play anymore.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. Your take on this is spot on. I think listeners are going to love it too. We got to wrap, Valkia, but what's one thing, over the last 5-6 years that you would tell yourself, if you were just starting out, what would you leave with listeners?
If I was to tell myself I'm starting out, don't get complacent. Like, I don't want to say I'm completely complacent, but I feel like, I don't know, I've changed, with my YouTube stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, don't get complacent. And my 3 golden rules were consistency, broadcast quality, and engagement. They're all the same 3 things that I still live by today, but, I want to make sure that it's important that everybody knows that there's 3 things that are basically integral to everybody to be able to grow properly.
Well, I think people are going to love this. Where can they find you after the episode?
Sure. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Valkia, or if you want to interact on Twitter, you can at official Valkia.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, man.